Namo Namaha. My name is RJ. Welcome to the American Hindu. One of the most difficult aspects of spiritual pursuits, especially philosophical spirituality, things that aren't taken on faith alone, is that it can be very hard to prove. And in fact, it can only be proven to a certain point, and then the rest has to be understood through direct experience. Otherwise, you're just going to get into countless counter arguments with rationalists and materialists. And the materialists have a great point. There's nothing wrong with that worldview. It just isn't the view put forth by Vedanta. And so one of the ways that in your practice you can get rid of faulty reasoning and help verify the vidya, the true nature of the work that you're doing, is by constantly testing it against different parameters so that you can get as close to truth as logic can take you. And then from there, just recognize that it will only be through a deeper understanding gained through meditation and direct experience that you're ultimately going to be able to confirm it. I have not ultimately confirmed it yet. I am not enlightened. I am on that path right alongside you. But I do offer some guidance. This is one of the books I've written called The Way of the Hindu. And in chapter 4, I mention one of the ways that you can look at verifying truth, which is a type of Venn diagram. Here I have Guru, Shruti, and Pratyaksha. There are other ways of doing it. This is just an introductory version. There's a famous four qualification system from the, I want to say, Vakya tradition. And the method I'm putting here, again, an introductory method is it's overlooking things like inference and logical deduction, because again, it's just to give the basics, right? But these three aspects, Guru, Shruti, which in this context is including Smriti, that which is heard and that which is instructed, and Pratyaksha, direct experience, are three very good ways of kind of zoning in, centering in on truth. And what I mean by that is, if I take my magical Sharpie, each of these circles represents one of those things. Okay, so this circle at the top represents Guru. This one is scriptures, right? Smriti and Shruti, and this one is Pratyaksha, right? So you've got the teachings of the Guru, you've got the scriptures themselves, and you've got your own personal experience. And the method of verifying this is to simply keep drawing circles. Have multiple conversations with your guru. Go to speakers from different schools of thought that teach about the same topic and hear what they have to say. Read different scriptures. Don't bind yourself to one book, okay? Listen to different lectures commenting on those scriptures. There are things called bhashyas. And for instance, I have the Brahma Sutra bhashya here of Shankaracharya. Quick read, at about 800 pages. But I mentioned the different teachers in a previous text. This is the bhashya of Shankaracharya. This is his explanation for the Brahma Sutras. But there's also one famously written by Ramanuja, who takes the Vishishta Advaita version. But as you continue to read different scriptures from different points of view, you continue to draw the circles over and over again. And what happens is these outliers kind of fade away. And what you end up with is a central area here, where what you examine is more and more likely to be true. It zones in, it zeroes in on that idea, okay? This is how you want to do it. You are in practicing the intellectual pursuits, the philosophical aspects of yoga, you're not going to achieve enlightenment, okay? It can only take you so far. But what it can do is it can allow you to get rid of all of the things that are irrational, that may be biased, preferential, emotionally driven, no longer relevant. You know, at one point in time, a culture might have been different, their worldview might have been different, that explanation might have worked. it no longer does. You have to be willing to ask these questions, and you can't just expect and accept the answer to just be handed to you. That's not how it works. This is work. Okay, this is training of the mind. You are going in and validating as much as possible. You are verifying as much as possible what these teachings are saying. In Jnana Yoga, there's no such thing as a question that is off the table. You question everybody. If Shankara was standing in front of me and said something and I didn't understand him or I didn't agree with him, it wouldn't be rude for me to question him. It would be rude for me not to. Because if I truly respect something, I should want to understand it as much as possible. And if something is true, no amount of questions can harm it. If something is true, I'm going to say it again, no amount of questions can harm it. All questions can do is clarify that truth at higher and higher levels. Okay? When something is based on bias or preference or ulterior motives, that's when all questions are regarded as threats. If somebody is proclaiming themselves to be a guru or says, I only want you to study this scripture, all the other ones are wrong, be very careful, okay? Because the truth is spoken in many different ways by many different people, right? Ekam sat, there's one truth. Vipra bahuda vadanti, right? But the wise say it in many different ways or present it in many different ways. Okay, and this is done because each individual learner, coming from their own perspective, learns better in different ways. And it's the job of the teacher to meet the learner at their point of struggle and help guide that individual forward. There's no one size fits all, okay? But there is one truth that is underlying all of these teachings, right? And it's our job to understand that truth as best as possible. So you should question everything, all of it, okay? Do you believe in God? Why? Why do you believe in God? Why pursue that idea? If there were no gods in your society, would you have found on your own the idea that one could exist? You believe in a specific God. Why? Brahman is said to be formless. Brahman is said to be without attributes. Okay, nirguna, without the gunas, without the attributes, without these defining factors. We'll talk about the gunas in another video. But when you go into this, you have to be able to go into it willing to question all things. In the pursuit of knowledge, knowledge is not the attainment of something, it is the removal of our personal ignorance about a truth that already exists. So use the Venn diagram of Vidyic verification, as I call it in my book. But listen to other teachers. Read other books. Look at the people who argue against you and see if what they have to say can help you better understand your own point of view or refine your point of view or, dare I say it, change your point of view, okay? Because you're moving forward. And sometimes the path that you're on or the directions you've been given may look good and may work well for a while, but they don't always hold up in time. Or your understanding changes and the means by which you want to approach it changes with that thing. But you have to be willing to do the work. There is no easy path. There is no easy answer. Understanding only comes to those who are determined to gain understanding. And so we use our logic, we use our rational mind, we use tools like the Venn diagram in order to refine our questioning process and understand it better as we move on. And in future videos, I will get into some of the other methods and some of the traditions in Hindu education and how Vedas are taught to show you a little bit more about this. But that's it for today. Have a wonderful day, and thank you.